The 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, has declared his intention to contest again in 2027, but this time with a bold promise. He'll serve only one term if elected. Obi made the announcement during a live X Spaces session on Sunday night, speaking directly to supporters in Nigeria and the diaspora. His message: Nigeria needs urgent reform and he's willing to do it in just 4 years.
Now, Mr. Obidient stopped there. He outlined a reform-driven agenda focused on security, education and poverty reduction. In his first 100 days, he also pledged to stabilise the country within 2 years and cut the cost of governance. He also noted that he was open to a coalition, but only if it's issue-based. He ruled out any alliance that isn't focused on solving Nigeria's most pressing problems, from security in Benue and Zamfara to economic stagnation. Joining us live this morning for this discussion is the Secretary General of the Obidient Movement, Dr. Moses Paul. Dr. Paul, warm welcome to you and thanks for joining us on Breakfast Central.
Thank you, and it's always good to be here.
Now, what do you make of Mr. Peter Obi's declaration, and especially the way in which he did it on social media, on X? What are your thoughts?
I mean, there is, I don't think this is not the first time he has said that in answering questions, whether whenever he's been asked about what he would do as president or what are some of his policies and ideologies, he's often answered in that regard, to say that he will attend to issues of health, issues of education, issues of pulling people out of poverty and attending to the critical human indexes. And so it's not new. I think probably what is new is in attending to the issue of the years of serving, in terms of looking at the non-written agreement within the Nigerian polity, which has to do with the rotation of presidency within the South and the North. And given the current dispensation, and if you have been in Nigeria and you understand how we live together, he said he's just going to serve just a 4-year term, because you know that by 2031, within the unwritten agreement that exists within Nigeria, presidency will be going to the North in 2031. So aside from that, I think this is something that he's always answered home and abroad as regarding how he will attend to issues within the Nigerian space.
All right. So I think what he was asking was exactly your expectations or your thoughts regarding his official, or what some would consider his official announcement and intention to run for office. But let's talk about the Labour Party. The Labour Party hasn't had the best time, just like other parties. But do you think that with the internal wrangling or the internal leadership dispute he's currently facing, that he has political machinery to mount a credible campaign for Mr. Peter Obi in 2027?
Oh, absolutely. And I'll say it here, we've consistently maintained what you're seeing with the Labour Party today is an engineering by the current leadership. And they've been emboldened to the point where a lot of top officials have openly come out to say that, Mr. Peter, we go and fix your Labour Party, and we know what's going on. They've, what they want is they're clamoring for a singular party state in Nigeria, and they've sent machineries to ensure that the oppositions are destabilized. And I don't want to mention names, but on national TV, high-profile people from the current government have alluded to this. And it's very sad in a country like Nigeria, where we should be clamoring for opposition that will help to hold governance accountable and to strengthen our democratic processes and what we have. But I will tell you boldly that the Labour Party today in Nigeria is the most formidable in terms of its structure, in terms of what it has to be able to combat. And I know that in due course, all the internal wranglings and the broken down integrity between the people are going to be resolved. And that's on one part. But Mr. Peter Obi also made it very bold and clear regarding the coalition that is ongoing. He is a party to the coalition, and whatever happens because politics has to do with timing. Yeah, the right time, things are going to be fixed, and definitely the oppositions are coming together and they will participate very strongly in the 2027 general elections.
Again, I still want to push back on that question, because you're saying that the Labour Party has the right structure. What does that structure look like? You're saying in due time these internal conflicts will be resolved. What is the duration? When are you looking for this to happen? The timeline. The PDP has been on this same matter saying the same thing, and what we've been seeing, a number of their key figures have moved to the APC. So what you're saying, is there a practical laid down structure to completely recover the Labour Party, or is it just hope or wishful thinking you're sharing?
No, it's not just hope or wishful thinking, even though it's still part of it. But this is not the platform for me to begin to share strategies and in-depth, workings within the party. What is important is to understand that I know that there are workings going on, but I would not reveal anything going on here. But whether it is the Labour Party or the coalition, one thing is certain: the opposition will come together and will be formidable before the 2027 general election. That is a given.
All right. Permit me to ask these two questions back to back. Very short one, responding to what you just said. You said you're not here to unveil what's really going on in the back of the scene, but the newspapers, the front pages had highlighted that over 200 political parties had registered their interest in vying for the presidential seat. And it also highlighted that the Obidient Movement Party, is that the same party with what Mr. Peter Obi is looking to run under?
We're in a democratic society, and even you can go and register a party called the Obidient Movement Party. That does not mean that it has anything to do with the Obidient Movement. The Obidient Movement is not a political party, and is never going to be. Let me not say never. It's not a political party as we speak. Even if it's going to be a political party, the movement will always be there. It could have a political party, but not necessarily called the Obidient Political Party, because it's important in our democratic life and cycle and history to have a movement like the Obidient Movement that is dynamic. If you look at the last presidential election that overwhelmingly supported Mr. Peter Obi, the Obidient Movement were warehoused in different political parties. I have friends in the APC and in the PDP, and many who do not even have political parties who are part of the Obidient Movement. And this is something that is very important for people to understand. So the movement is always going to be there. It is a movement beyond affiliations with political parties, with religious affiliations or tribal sentiment. It is a movement that wants to hold leadership accountable. It's a movement that is about good governance. It's a movement that wants to see a new Nigeria that is possible. However, people can have political parties, and what you saw with the revelation of the different political parties has to do with the heightened tension by the international and local communities on INEC, because we live in a democratic dispensation where you can't put a capping on numbers of political parties or try to create a one-party system. So it is due to that heightened tension and the pushback by the civil society and other groups that led to the revealing of those names of the political party. It does not mean that it has any affiliation to do with the Obidient Movement, and definitely those are not the political parties that our front principle is going to run on. So just to make that very clear, that does not mean that I cannot register a political party. And yes, we also have one or two of those political parties on the people that we know, but it does not mean that it's affiliated with the Obidient movement. Just to point out that clarity, you know.
Thanks.
However,
Thanks
as a
for
Nigerian,
clarifying.
Mr. Peter Obi can choose to run under any political party of his choice before 2027.
That's fine. That's fine. Thanks for clarifying. At least that gives a way to doubt or removes the doubt completely that we could see Mr. Peter Obi go back to the PDP if care is not taken. But don't take my words for it. My next question simply is, in 2023, particularly in February, while the current president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, was being sworn in, Mr. Peter Obi had mentioned that he will in any way propose a 5-year single presidential tenure. But what we saw on X was 4 years. So can you help us understand which is Mr. Peter Obi standing for? Because he had mentioned he's going to propose 5-year single presidential tenure, which also was in support of what the former Vice President, President Atiku, had said. And just yesterday on X, or just over the weekend on X, he's also saying he's going to go for 4 years single presidential tenure. So was it a mistake, or was he actually saying that if he runs for presidency, he's going to do his first tenure and then propose 5 years? Can you clarify this?
First of all, Mr. Peter Obi is the most decent, democratic individual that I know right now in Africa. He's completely out of the box. He, you know, even after saying this now, some people will still misquote, misunderstand, because you have a lot of paid agents who are there, whose job, we've tagged some of them minister of Mr. Peter Obi. They're only looking out for issues, you know, to be able to misinform people. As it is right now in Nigeria, we are running a 4-year system of governance. Every 4 years, the political machineries will come together to, you know, for elections, and we'll have another 4-year term. And if you look at the current administration, Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is there. He'll be there for 4 years. He spent 2 years. Should he come back, he's going to have another 4 years. Should there be a change, it's going to be just another 4 years. That is a system of governance in place. And what Mr. Peter Obi was, I think he was asked what he will do when he becomes president. And he said, as president, he's going to propose and ensure, for the purpose of unity and inclusivity, you know, given the fact that we have 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria, to allow for a rotation of the different zones, because we have people today who, there are zones in Nigeria who have never been president. And he's saying that to allow for the uniformity, looking at the diversity of Nigeria, Nigeria is so diverse, and anybody who wants the unity and the progressive progressive nature of Nigeria will be one who will take into cognizance, you know, the different religions, the different political parties, the different tribes, and the different people that exist in Nigeria. And he said, as president, this is what he's going to do. What Mr. Peter Obi is saying is, when he becomes president, let's say come 2027, even if he's going to spend just 2 years or 3 years, he will ensure that there will be rotation, the rotational value of presidency that will affect every zone will be put in place. That is in no way to say that he will go for the 5-year term. Mr. Peter Obi is not going to do that. He's going to spend just the amount of time that is required for him, and he will ensure that Nigeria progress, you know, to a progressive in terms of its political cycles, to a democratic, to an economical, viable country, from consumption to production within the 1, 2, 3, or 4 years max that he's going to spend. This is what Mr. Peter Obi is saying. He's going to leave Nigeria in a place where it will become formidable, united, progressive, and taking into cognizance every person living in Nigeria, every zone and every people. This is his proposal, and this is what he's going to do as president.
Thank you for clarifying on that. Now, looking at now that Mr. Peter Obi has declared his intentions to run in 2027, the next question is how, and he will get there, and what are his strategies. But looking at Nigeria's recent political history, the only time an incumbent lost was due to the combined, there had to be a sort of correlation. And looking at the heavyweights that have also, in one way or the other, declared their intentions to run, they're very strong personalities. And I don't think any of them, and including Mr. Peter Obi, would be willing to drop his ambition and play second fiddle to anyone. It's also said in that X space that he's only going to go for a coalition that is issue-based and will solve Nigeria's problems. So looking at the political calculus presently, can he go alone, looking at his track record and how diverse and big of a country Nigeria is? He does have supporters in different parts of the country, but do you think he can marshal the number of votes that would require him to emerge as president in 2027 without going into a coalition?
I've had the opportunity to have traveled with Mr. Peter Obi around the country. You know, whether you from Sokoto to Ibadan, from Katsina to Lagos, Mr. Peter Obi is very much loved by the Nigerian people across board, regardless. And I do understand your questions as regarding, because you are alluding to the fact that in terms of the defense of our vote, we all know Mr. Peter Obi is the only presidential candidate in the last general election that won both Lagos and Abuja. And while we don't want to go back, even the votes that were allocated to him, we have data that has shown that he was completely shortchanged. As we speak right now, Mr. Peter Obi is the biggest political figure, not just in Nigeria, but in Africa. So yes, he can very much go alone. But in the spirit of voter defense and to ensure that we have a clear win is why he is very much disposed to the coalition to ensure that every vote, counts and every vote is defended from every quarter and every place without any equivocation. And so, yes, he's very much open to that. And he's the biggest, like I said, you can't overemphasize that, looking at where we are today in Nigeria. Whether he goes alone or he goes with a coalition that is very much disposed to, Mr. Peter Obi is going to be there. And just to clarify again what happened during the X space, he was answering a question regarding what he would do. Sometimes he's been taken out of context, even concerning the X space. When Mr. Peter Obi is asked, what are you going to do as president? He will speak regarding that. When he's asked, if you are as president, are you going to be there for 4 years? He will respond to that. He's open to the coalition. The coalition has not taken a position yet. But I understand that whenever he speaks, there are those who are very quick to take him out of context. He's very much engaged, and he has said it very openly that whatever is the outcome of the coalition, that he is going to go in with that. Mr. Peter Obi is not afraid to put forth his thought or to go in with the coalition because he knows who he is and is very comfortable with that, and so, like I reiterate again, whether he goes alone or he goes with the coalition, Mr. Peter Obi is the biggest thing, is the biggest political figure today in Nigeria, and this is without any question. And therefore, head or tail, Mr. Peter Obi is there, and that's exactly what it is.
What do you believe that 4 years is enough to make or implement the changes that he's preferred? The challenges that Nigeria as a country has had to deal with has been accumulated over the years. Administration in, administration out. The one thing we always heard was we inherited these problems from the past administration. Do you believe that these problems can be dealt with in 4 years?
The big picture problems of Nigeria can be solved in 4 years. The nitty-gritties will take more than a lifetime to be solved. But what Nigeria needs right now are the bold policy decisions. We just need someone who can help cut the cost of governance and put Nigeria in the direction of movement. That's what we need. We are not going to solve Nigeria's issues. Nigeria's issues go back. I mean, we're here. It took over 60 years for us to be here. So the issues are not going to go away. The issues of tribal, religious, cultural, the issues of how we behave, the civil service system. You know, you're looking at the rule of law. You're talking about very many issues that are going to take many years to do. But I can tell you that should Nigeria have a president like Mr. Peter Obi, there will be big and bold changes within the first few days and the first few months. Nigeria needs a patriotic leader that will serve as an example to generations unborn. Nigeria needs a leader that would live what he says, that would live the toughness of what he has declared or spoken. That's what Nigeria needs. Nigeria does not need a leader who is telling Nigerians to tighten their seatbelt, but is buying yachts and spending billions of nairas and dollars, you know, to renovate houses. Nigeria does not need leaders who are building bridges and roads when salaries are not being paid, where students and pupils are out of schools for over 6 months. That's not what Nigeria needs. Nigeria needs a critical leader that understands the human capital development, that will attend to issues of education, of health, that will tilt Nigeria completely from the direction that Nigeria is right now. If you look back, even during the military regime, Murtala Mohammed did not spend 6 months, but bold decisions were made, including moving the FCT to where it is today. You need a president like Mr. Peter Obi who would help shape the big decision policy boulders. With that, Nigeria will take a different direction. Who is going to come next? And the people who will come next will fix the nitty-gritties. That's what we need right now. What we have seen over and over again are a people who do not even understand the narrative of conversation, much less attend to the issues. What we need now is a president who will cut the cost of governance, attend to the issues of the civil service, ensure we have the rule of law. And Nigerians are the easiest people on planet Earth, you know, to serve and to govern. What is missing is a bold and clear thought leadership.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Moses Paul, Secretary General, Obidient Movement. Thanks for joining us and shedding more light, especially on the different angles from that X conversation. Thanks for your time, by the way, and do have a very nice day ahead.